There is a sweet that has been made in Vichy since 1825 that entered the French pharmacopoeia in 1837. It was invented by a chemist who was a member of both the Academy of Sciences and the Academy of Medicine, and that 3.6 million are produced every single day. An octagonal white tablet engraved with the word Vichy on one side and thermal establishment on the other. That began as a digestive remedy and became one of the most recognizable confections in France, and whose story connects directly to a chef we have already covered in this series. Because the spa town of Vichy, famous for its mineral waters, is also the town that gave its name to the most celebrated cold soup in the history of fine dining, Louis Diat, Vichyssoise. We talked about him in our main series. Today we're in the town itself and we're talking about the Pastille. This is Fabulously Delicious, the French food podcast, and welcome back to the Food Tour de France. I'm your host, Andrew Pryor. Today the tour passes through Vichy, one of the most elegant and most complicated cities in France, a Belle Époque spa town on the Allier River, with grand hotels, ornate thermal baths, beautiful park promenades, and a history that carries the weight of the Vichy government of the Second World War, alongside all of its mineral water and its grandeur. Today we are focusing on something lighter. Today we are talking about the Pastille de Vichy. Let's start with what a Pastille de Vichy actually is, because most people outside of France know the name, maybe not what it is. The Pastille de Vichy is a small octagonal tablet, not quite a sweet in the conventional sense and not quite a medicine, sitting in that interesting space between the two that the French have always been more comfortable occupying than most other cultures. It weighs 2.5 grams. Its main ingredient is sugar. But what makes it specifically a Pastille de Vichy rather than an ordinary mint is the addition of Vichy mineral salts, extracted from the mineral waters of the Vichy thermal springs, which give the tablet its distinctive slightly alkaline quality and its reputation for digestive properties. It comes in several flavors: mint, lemon, anise, and orange, and in versions with or without sugar. Shape is fixed though. The octagon has been the shape since mid-19th century, when a confectioner called Francois Brou chose it specifically to distinguish the Vichy pastille from competing digestive tablets produced in other spa towns. The word Vichy on one side, thermal establishment on the other, well, nobody was in any doubt about what they were eating or where it came from with that on it. Origin story begins in 1824 with a chemist called Jean-Pierre Joseph Darcet, a member of the Academy of Sciences and the Academy of Medicine. He had gone to Vichy to take the waters, as the fashionable and the unwell did throughout the 19th century. Vichy's mineral springs had been celebrated since antiquity for their digestive and therapeutic properties, drawing visitors from across France and beyond. Darcet, with the mind of a scientist rather than a patient, became interested not in drinking the waters, but in understanding what was in them. He identified sodium bicarbonate of soda, as the principal active element responsible for the digestive virtues of the Vichy waters. And he had the idea of concentrating that bicarbonate of soda into a solid form that could be taken without visiting the spa at all. He gave his recipe to a pharmacist called Nicolas Francois Renaud, pharmacist to the Duke of Angoulême, who'd begun developing the manufacturing process in 1825, in cooperation with the thermal establishment pharmacist Pierre Balliat, who had mastered the bicarbonate process. He died before the exploitation of the recipe was commercially possible, but the idea was out. In 1833, the industrial production was taken over by the Brosson brothers, the new operators of the state thermal establishment. By 1837, these alkaline tablets had entered the French pharmacopoeia, the official state codification of medicines. The octagonal shape came in the 1860s when the Vichy Farm Company filed a patent for the industrial production of Vichy mineral salts and simultaneously standardized the form of the pastille. By this point, there were multiple producers and pharmacists making competing versions. In 1914, a court case between the Pharmacists' Union and a confectioner called Monet formalized what had been becoming clear for some time. The Pastille de Vichy was now a confection as much as a pharmaceutical product, and could be sold freely without restriction to anyone who wanted one. The Monet confectionery is worth its own moment because it is the other great thread in the story of the Vichy Pastille, and the one that still operates today as a family business. Founded in 1871 by Benoit Rondepierre, it has been in the Moyer family for 7 generations. In 1932, the family acquired the Roger sauce and launched the Pastis de Bassin de Vichy, their own version, produced in Haute-Treville, just south of Vichy, still made to traditional methods and still sold in the Monet shops in Vichy and Paris. The Monet Pastille is the one that includes an orange flavour, not available in the mainstream versions. A small but definite point of distinction that the 7th generation confectioners maintain with quiet pride. The other thread, the main commercial pastille, had a rather turbulent 20th century. Several competing brands were unified in 1981 under the single name Pastille Vichy. That consolidated brand was brought by Perrier and then sold in 1988 to the American pharmaceutical company Warner Lambert, now Pfizer, then to Cadbury in 2003, and then to Kraft Foods in 2010, and then to Mondelez International in 2012, and finally in 2017 a large number of Mondelez confectionery brands, Vichy among them, were sold to the French investment fund Eurazeo, which gathered them all into the company called Carambar & Co. In 2025, the city of Vichy celebrated the bicentennial of the Pastille, 200 years since Daché gave his recipe to the Regnan in 1825. 200 years of the same octagonal tablet, the same sodium bicarbonate from the same mineral springs, the same digestive claim. There is also a soft drink made from Vichy pastilles, the Pastillade, and pharmacies still sell a higher strength version with a greater proportion of the Vichy mineral salts for those who want something closer to the original therapeutic formulation. The Pastille de Vichy exists at several points on the spectrum between confection and medicine, and has always been comfortable at all of them simultaneously. The connection back to Louis Diat is worth a moment before we finish. Diat, whose episode in the main Fabulously Delicious series tells the full story, was born in Montmorency in the Allier, not far from Vichy, and he named his most famous creation, that cold potato leek soup he invented at the Ritz-Carlton in New York in 1917, after Vichy, the spa town near his birthplace. The Vichy waters were famous for their digestive properties, and the Pastille de Vichy was invented to capture those same properties in solid form. And Diat, standing in a Manhattan kitchen 30 years after leaving the Allier, chose this name for a soup that has nothing to do with digestion and everything to do with memory. Vichy the town, the waters, the Pastille, the soup, named after them. Today, the tour passes through Vichy. Find a Pastille, notice the octagon if you have one, taste the slightly aconite finish, underneath the mint or the lemon flavour, and remember that you are eating something that has been made in this town for 200 years, that entered the French pharmacopoeia as a medicine and ended up in the hands of a confectionery, and connects this thermal spa town to a cold soup served at the Ritz-Carlton in New York. French food history is full of these threads. You just have to know where to pull. That's the Pastille de Vichy. In the next episode of the Food Tour de France, another stage, another story. Bon appétit et à très bientôt.